Hello viewers, I welcome you all for the session on chromatography. In this particular module or in this session, we will explain about the rate theory of chromatography. In our previous modules, you have understood about the basics of chromatography and some terminologies what we will use in chromatographic separations. And more importantly, the plate theory. It is concerned to the concentration of the analyte. So these are the things we have understood in our previous modules. This module is devoted to give you some insights about the rate theory of chromatographic separation. So as you know, the chromatography is a separation technique for the separation of variety of solutes which are present in the samples. When the solutes are getting separated, individual bands are going to be formed in the chromatographic column. So the width of the bands is very, very prime importance. And as the width of the band is lower, the chromatographic separation process will become more efficient. In the meantime, if the width of the band is high, that leads to cause the band broadening or zone spreading. And how this band broadening or zone spreading is going to impair the separation process. And what is the meaning of band broadening or zone spreading, we will discuss. And what are the factors which will influence this band broadening or zone spreading, we will discuss in this particular module. Right. First of all, let us understand what is band broadening or zone spreading. You can see here there are four different pictures. This is picture A, and this is picture B, picture C, and picture D. And this is an ideal band obtained for an individual solute. Once the solute is reached to its equilibrium level, the Gaussian profile for the solute has been obtained. So this Gaussian profile for the solute in the mobile phase and in the stationary phase, we can see during the separation of the solute. When the solute traverses in the chromatographic column, once the sample is introduced to the chromatographic column, mobile phase is supposed to pass through the chromatographic column, and mobile phase will not only move itself, but also it will carry the solute molecule. So solute molecule will be distributed itself between the stationary and mobile phase. And this Gaussian profile is the ideal one what we will expect due to the equilibrium distribution of the solute between the stationary and mobile phase. You can see here below the arrow mark there is a stationary phase, and above the arrow mark there is mobile phase, and the solute has to be distributed equally in stationary and mobile phase or uniformly between stationary and mobile phase. Therefore, this profile is an ideal profile, and this is in Gaussian shape. If you come to the picture, second picture, picture B, here the movement of the solute can be seen as the band move down the chromatographic column. So how the solute is going to be moved here? So the movement of the solute is seen in such a way that the mobile phase is going to disrupt the equilibrium what we have seen in this particular picture. So the red arrows present here showing the movement of the solute from mobile phase to stationary phase and stationary phase to mobile phase. And this is not a usual one. We cannot expect this type of movement. Even the equilibrium is disturbed for a particular solute. The movement of the solute either from the stationary phase to mobile phase or mobile phase to stationary phase can be seen. So during this instance, the solute will be searching its own way to establish the in the equilibrium process. So it will be trying to re-establish its equilibrium. Therefore, this is what the diagram what is presented. And here also during the re-establishment of the equilibrium by a solute, again the usual movement of the solute from mobile phase to stationary phase or stationary phase to mobile phase taking place. And this process will become continuous until the solute reaches the detector. So once the sample is introduced, there are different solutes are present in the sample. Individual solute will form individual band, and individual band can be moved in its own movement during the elution process in the chromatographic column. While doing so, this establishment of equilibrium or disruption in the equilibrium process of the solute our solute will try to re-establish the equilibrium process in this manner. So at last, once all these process is over, the diagram D which is presented here is the picture showing the band for a solute after the equilibrium is re-established. So this is what the ideal picture we are expecting, ideal chromatographic peak we are expecting. And this is with respect to the concentration profile of the solute, which is moving through the chromatographic column during the elution process. So this is what we will expect at the end. And there is increase in the width of this band, and this increase in the width of the band is more commonly due to disruption of the equilibrium due to the interaction of the solute with the stationary phase to a more extent, or interaction of the solute with the mobile phase to a more extent, whichever is possible. Therefore, thus the increased width of the band can be seen. So once the equilibrium is reached, we will be expecting this with less bandwidth. And even after the re-establishment of the equilibrium, we will be expecting this type of concentration profile. But here the width has been increased. If you look at the diagrams A and B, here the width is lower and here the width is higher. So the chromatographic peaks with more width are said to be called as the peaks with more band broadening. Means solute have shown unusual interaction with the stationary phase or the mobile phase. In such cases, the band broadening or zone spreading can be seen as a common phenomenon. And this process is called as band broadening. And this band broadening will be severely affecting the separation process, and thereby it will affect the column efficiency. How this band broadening is arised, what are the factors which will influence the band broadening process, and how the column efficiency is going to be suppressed by this band broadening process, let us understand. Okay, so the band broadening is clearly explained by rate theory, and this is also known as theory of band broadening or rate theory. The chromatographic band spread is due to the partitioning of the analyte between stationary phase and mobile phase. As you know, when you introduce the sample to the chromatographic column, solute molecule will be partitioning between stationary phase and mobile phase. It will not only partition, it will create its own band, and its spread will be more due to unusual interaction of the solute with either stationary phase and mobile phase. So if the width of individual band is less, then we can say the ideal chromatogram it is. If the width is less, the chromatogram will be ideal. If the width is more, that is more spread. If the band is spread to a more extent or maximum extent, then we can say the chromatographic peak is non-ideal. And this non-ideality which leads to lowering the number of theoretical plates or highering the height of the theoretical plate, and which ultimately affect the column efficiency. So column efficiency will be suppressed as the number of theoretical plates become lower, or as the height equivalent per theoretical plate become more. So what are the reasons for this? Why the bands are spread to the maximum extent? Why there is more spreading of the individual band we will see during the separation process? And what are the factors which will contribute to greater value of HETP or lower value of number of theoretical plates? This is very important to understand. So as I told you earlier, the column efficiency is the parameter going to be affected by this band broadening process, because as I told you, there are several discrete imaginary units will be present in each and every particular band. If the number of theoretical plates expressed for those imaginary units will be less, definitely there will be higher height of individual theoretical plate. So this leads to lower the column efficiency. So column efficiency will become lesser as the H value become more. So this lower column efficiency or the band broadening is determined by considering four factors. So what are those four factors? So the lowering value of the H, or the lowering value of the N, or higher value of H is determined by considering four factors. What are those four factors? So this band broadening is explained by several theories. Out of several theories, there is one theory which will explain the band broadening based on the four factors. That is, solutes multiple path transfer or eddy diffusion, longitudinal diffusion, mass transfer of solute into stationary phase, and mass transfer of solute into mobile phase. These are the four factors which are considered by one special theory to explain band broadening process. So, why the band broadening is arised? Because of these four factors. Solute movement in the chromatographic column is responsible for the band broadening process, and the solute will be moving through the column by passing the interface between the stationary phase and mobile phase, and solute will be equilibrated between stationary phase and mobile phase. While doing so, while occurring so, how the solute behavior will be anticipated. So these are all the things we have to consider during explaining the band broadening process. So let us take the first factor, movement of the solute in multiple path or multiple path transfer, which is also known as eddy diffusion. Eddy diffusion. You assume this is a chromatographic column. This is a chromatographic column, and all these pairs are nothing but the stationary phase particles. So when you introduce the sample containing solute A and B at the head of the chromatographic column, and during the elution process, solutes will form their own bands and they will start to move through the chromatographic column. And this movement, the rate of migration of the solute is dependent upon its relative affinity towards the stationary phase. Therefore, solute molecules will start to move towards the detector during the elution step. So during the movement of the solute through the chromatographic column, you can see here as indicated by the arrow mark, some solutes will be moving in this way, in this path, and some solute will be moving in this path. That means to say that some solutes will be moving linearly and some solutes will be moving unusually by taking tortoise path. The tortoise behavior, haphazard behavior of the solute can also be seen during the movement of the solute through the chromatographic column. So when the solute move linearly, the distance traveled by the solute will be lower. When the solute moving in a tortoise manner, the distance traveled by the solute will be higher. And as a result, there is more interaction of the solute with the stationary phase particle. Therefore, the band spreading will become very high. So, what is the reason for this tortoise movement of the solute or multiple part transfer of the solute? And this transfer, this diffusion of the solute is also known as eddy diffusion. So, eddy diffusion is nothing but the diffusion of the solute into the stationary phase in multiple paths. In multiple paths. If you consider there are two solutes, solute A and solute B, solute A will be moving its own path and solute B will be moving in its own path, and the path moved by the solute will be deferred by the path moved by the solute B, and this movement is known as multiple path transfer. And this kind of diffusion of the solute into the stationary phase or through the column is known as eddy diffusion. So what is the reason for this? What is the reason for this multiple part transfer of the solute through the chromatographic column? You have stationary phase particles which have been filled into the chromatographic column, and those stationary phase particles may not be homogeneous in particle size, may not be homogeneous in particle size. So difference in particle size of the packing material which will become responsible. If you assume this particle is lower in size than this, and similarly this is having more size than this, etc., throughout the chromatographic column, if there is non-homogeneous packing is seen during filling the stationary phase into the chromatographic column, then also we can expect this multiple part transfer. So these are the two factors which we will use why this multiple part transfer of the solute can be seen during the solute's elution in chromatographic separation process. Solutes will be moving in multiple paths because of the non-homogeneous packing of stationary phase particle and the differences in particle size of the stationary phase particles. So these are the two factors which are responsible for this eddy diffusion. So there are only two choices for the solutes to move, a straight path or more tortoise path. So some solutes will be moving in a linear way, straightforward towards the detector, and some solutes will be moving haphazardly by having tortoise path, So these two factors, due to multiple path transfer of the solute or eddy diffusion, the band will be spreading to a maximum extent, to a more extent, And this increased band width, which leads to increase the plate height. In a particular band, the plate height will be increased due to more multiple part transfer possibility of the solute. Therefore, the increased plate height due to inconsistency of the packing of stationary phase into the chromatographic column and differences in particle size of the packing, the plate height will be increased, and that is written as Hp is equal to 2 into lambda into dp. Let me call this equation number 1. So this is the equation with respect to multiple part transfer of the solute or eddy diffusion. So where lambda is a constant for packing consistency and dp is the diameter of the packing particles, that is stationary phase particles. Okay. When you use open tubular columns, especially in gas chromatographic separation will be performed by using variety of the columns. Out of different columns, open tubular column are one of the important types of columns which are more commonly employed in gas chromatographic separation process, where there is no packing material will be used in the column. The walls of the column itself will be acting as a stationary phase. The walls of the column itself will be acting as a stationary phase. And there may be a liquid which is adhered to the walls of the gas chromatographic column. In such cases, there is no question of non-homogeneous packing or differences in particle size of the packing material. In such cases, the height is not contributed by the multiple part transfer. Therefore, HP will become 0 when you use gas chromatographic technique by using open tubular column for the separation process. So you have to remember this. So usually we can say the height of the theoretical plate is increased, that is due to band spreading, due to multiple part transfer of the solute or eddy diffusion is written as Hp is equal to 2 lambda into dp. Let me call this equation number 1. And the second one is longitudinal diffusion. Longitudinal diffusion is indicating the traverse nature of the solute through the chromatographic column. How the solute molecules are going to be diffused in the mobile phase. So this is what the longitudinal diffusion. Say for example, if the solutes are stationary means mobile phase is not moving. Once the sample is introduced to the chromatographic column, soon after the introduction of the sample into the chromatographic column, solute will be forming a band at the head of the chromatographic column. So as the solute move down the chromatographic column, the band of solute keep on increases. The bandwidth of the solute keep on increases. Here, the width you can see this is very less, and here more than this, and here somewhat more than this. Bandwidth is going to be increased. So this increased bandwidth is also due to the longitudinal diffusion. What is this longitudinal diffusion? Even in the zero velocity of the mobile phase, that is, there is no mobile phase is moving through the chromatographic column, solutes will not be stayed as stationary species. They will be under constant motion. Even the mobile phase is not moving, solute molecules or solute species in the column will be under constant motion. Therefore, if you look at these bands, if you consider this band, the concentration of the solute at the center of the band will be more when compared to front and rear edges of the band. If you look at this is the center of this particular band, or this is the center of this particular band. Even under zero velocity of the mobile phase, the concentration of the solute at the center of the individual chromatographic band will be more when compared to the edges, front and rear edges of the chromatographic band. As a result, solutes which are present at the center, which are concentrated, which are segregated at the center, will start to move towards front and rear edges of the chromatographic band, either towards this direction or towards this direction. So the solute molecules which are segregated at the center of the band will start to move towards either front or rear edges of this particular chromatographic band, and this leads to increase in the width of this band. So here the solutes were concentrated at the center. As they moved down the chromatographic column, they started to migrate towards the front and rear edges of this particular band. As a result, the bandwidth has been increased. If you look at this profile is indicating here at the beginning of the elution process, once the elution process is started or once the sample is introduced to the head of the chromatographic column, there is a narrow band has been seen. As the band moved on the chromatographic column, the width of the band has been increased, and that is due to the longitudinal diffusion. And this longitudinal diffusion, which leads to result an increase in the bandwidth, longitudinal diffusion, which leads to result an increase in the bandwidth, and this bandwidth will also affect the column efficiency in the chromatographic separation process. Therefore, this longitudinal diffusion will also lead to increase the plate height of the theoretical plate, and that is denoted by HD, where H is the plate height, theoretical plate height, and D is the term diffusion. Due to the longitudinal diffusion, the plate height is increased, and that is written as HD is equal to 2 into gamma into dm divided by U, where gamma is a constant related to column packing, dm is the diffusion coefficient of solute in the mobile phase, and h is the height of the theoretical plate, and u is the mobile phase velocity, linear velocity of the mobile phase. So what is the speed of the mobile phase which is moving through the chromatographic column? So as you increase the mobile phase velocity, we can make the bands to move faster, and hence we can decrease the value of h. This is what we can see by this particular equation. So in order to decrease the longitudinal diffusion of the solute, we have to increase the mobile phase linear velocity. Thereby we can have lower bandwidth and lower height equivalent theoretical plate. Therefore column efficiency can be increased. Let me call this equation number 2. Due to the longitudinal diffusion, the band broadening takes place, and the mathematical expression due to longitudinal diffusion can be written as HD is equal to 2 into gamma dm divided by U. Let me call this equation number 2. Then the other term is mass transfer of solute. When you introduce the sample to the chromatographic column containing either single solute or multiple solutes, solute molecules have to be partitioned between the stationary phase and mobile phase in order to have a suitable separation process. Adequate separation process will be possible only when a solute having the capability to undergo partitioning between stationary phase and mobile phase. During the solute movement in the chromatographic column, or for a solute to move from one phase to other phase, it has to diffuse first into the interface. You can see there is an interface between mobile phase and the stationary phase. There is an interface between the mobile phase and stationary phase. If the solute has to diffuse into the stationary phase, solute from the mobile phase has to reach the interface first. So solute molecule, if it wants to move towards the stationary phase from mobile phase, first the solute has to diffuse into the interface between mobile phase and stationary phase. Then from the interface to the stationary phase, it has to move, or solute has to move from stationary phase to interface, then from interface to mobile phase. This is what we have to see as a usual phenomena during the partitioning of the solute. So whenever the solute's movement to the interface is not fast enough, either from the stationary phase or from the mobile phase, the solute movement it is not fast enough to maintain the true equilibrium distribution as we wish the solute molecule to undergo partitioning between the stationary phase and mobile phase. The solute molecules in the mobile phase will move farther down the column. If the ability of the solute to migrate into the interface is lower, then such solute molecules will be moving down the chromatographic column by overcoming the interface, and the rate of this diffusion will be more than the expected. The rate of diffusion of the solute from the mobile phase to stationary phase will be more than the expected because it has overcome the diffusion of the interface. The solute molecules in the stationary phase will take a longer time than expected to cross into the mobile phase. Whichever the solute present in the stationary phase will take longer time to cross the interface to reach the mobile phase. So that means to say that Whenever the true equilibrium phenomena is not possible during the diffusion of the solute from mobile phase to interface, then interface to stationary phase, or stationary phase to interface to mobile phase, then the solute molecule will be moving farther down the chromatographic column without having proper diffusion into the interface. Or this may be from mobile phase to stationary phase or stationary phase to mobile phase. That means to say that we are anticipating the solute molecule to distribute between stationary phase and mobile phase in equal proportions. In equal proportions, when the solute is distributed between stationary and mobile phase in equal proportions, then only it is possible to have a band of suitable width, ideal peak we can expect. If this diffusion become unusual, that may be due to the mass transfer of the solute into either stationary phase or into the mobile phase without diffusing into interface. Mass transfer, the maximum quantity of the solute which is present in the sample, that is present in a band, may be transferred directly into the stationary phase or into the mobile phase without getting diffused into the interface. And that leads to increase the bandwidth, that leads to increase the plate height in the chromatographic separation process. And eventually, as a consequence of this mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase and mobile phase without diffusing into the interface, this leads to increase the plate height. And as a result of this increased plate height, the column efficiency will become suppressed. And as a result, the band broadening will become more. And as a result of higher band broadening, the chromatographic separation efficiency will become suppressed. So, the mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase and mass transfer of the solute into the mobile phase are expressed by means of these two equations. The plate height will be increased due to mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase, that is denoted by Hs is equal to Q into K dash into dF square divided by 1 plus K dash whole square into ds whole into U, where U is the mobile phase velocity, dF is the thickness of the stationary phase film, means the stationary phase thickness which is present in the chromatographic column. K dash is the capacity factor or retention factor. Q is a constant related to packing consistency, and ds is the diffusion coefficient of the solute in the stationary phase. And even due to mass transfer of the solute into the mobile phase, the height of the theoretical plate is increased, and this is expressed by means of this mathematical equation. And the height of the theoretical plate due to mass transfer of the solute into the mobile phase is denoted as Hm. So Hm is equal to function of dp square dc square divided by dm into u. The height of the theoretical plate will be increased due to mass transfer of the solute into the mobile phase, and that is all dependent upon the diameter of the stationary phase particle, diameter of the column what we are using, and the diffusion ability of the solute into the mobile phase, and also the velocity of the mobile phase. Right? If you look at these equations, if you maintain average linear velocity of the mobile phase at a greater level, if the u value is more, hs value will become high. Here also, if u is more, hm will become more. So it is very, very important to say that here we have to mention about the mobile phase speed at which it is moving through the chromatographic column. If the mobile phase is rapidly moving through the chromatographic column, there is a problem of increased bandwidth, and due to this increased bandwidth, there is suppression of the column efficiency. So experimental conditions have to be set in such a way that the mobile phase velocity must be optimum. So the mobile phase velocity must be set at which the value of Hs or Hm must be as minimum as possible. So therefore, the mass transfer of the solute will also contribute to the band broadening in chromatographic separation process. I will show you a video here exactly how the eddy diffusion term, longitudinal diffusion, mass transfer of the solute in the stationary phase will affect the band broadening process. So you can see more clearly here, step by step. So once the sample is introduced, solute molecule will start to move through the chromatographic column. You can see there are three different kinds of solutes. There are three different kinds of solute. One solute is moving in this direction, other solute is moving in this direction, and the other solute has moved by traveling this particular path. So different paths moved by the solute. Different paths were taken during the movement of the solute, and this movement is called as eddy diffusion, or multiple path transfer. Then the longitudinal diffusion, you can see the movement of the solute band here. As it moved down the chromatographic column, the bandwidth keep on increases, and this is due to the movement of the solute from the center to front and rear edges of the chromatographic band. So this is known as longitudinal diffusion. Here you can see the mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase. During the solute is moving through the chromatographic column, it will interact as a whole, it will be transferred into the stationary phase. You can see here the solute has been segregated in the stationary phase only. And due to the maximum retention of the solute in the stationary phase, due to the retention of the solute in a maximum amount in the stationary phase, there is a relative bandwidth occurred here. You can see here one solute particle has been moved and the other solute particle has retained in the chromatographic column. So therefore, I will show you once again. So once the solute has been introduced to the chromatographic column, solute molecules will start to migrate through the chromatographic column. Different solutes will take their own path to travel through the chromatographic column. This is moving faster. This is moving as an intermediate solute, and this is moving as a last solute, a last particle of a group of solute. So multiple path transfers have been taken by the solutes. Therefore, the eddy diffusion. This is the longitudinal diffusion. You can see at this moment, the bandwidth of this particular solute band is lower. Once it is started to move through the chromatographic column, the width keep on increases. Here the width is higher, and still it is moving through the chromatographic column. Width is keep on increasing. Why this increased bandwidth? This increased bandwidth is due to because the solute concentration at the center of the band was maximum. Therefore, the solutes from the center will start to diffuse towards the front and rear edges of the chromatographic band. As a result, the width has been increased abruptly. Due to this abrupt increase in the bandwidth, which will lead to band broadening or zone spreading. This is about the longitudinal diffusion term. Then the last term is mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase or mobile phase. You can see here, the solute particles are coming together and they are having the affinity to interact with the stationary phase. And as a whole, they are interacting with the stationary phase. As a whole, they are not going to the interface between the stationary phase and mobile phase. Now the solute particles have been separated. And this separation distance, which will lead to increase the band spreading or zone spreading. So this is what the mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase. Here you can see the stationary phase has retained the solute for the maximum extent of time, and this is known as mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase. You can see here at the wide volume of the column, there is a mobile phase, and the solute has not been moved into the mobile phase. Our solute is not present in the interface between the stationary phase and mobile phase. Therefore, it is massively transferred into the stationary phase only. And as a result, analytes have similar diffusion coefficients in larger particles. Hence, the analyte travels slower, resulting in a larger concentration of the solute in the stationary phase. So, they have smaller diffusion coefficients. If you assume the particles are larger, the diffusion coefficients are smaller. So, they will travel very slowly, and as a result of this slow movement of the solute molecules through the chromatographic column, their diffusion into the stationary phase will become maximum. As a result, the concentration of the solute in the stationary phase will be more. And this is known as mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase. You can see here, solute has retained in the stationary phase. As a result, its concentration in the stationary phase has been increased. Now it has started to migrate. See, this solute particle has moved and this solute particle has been retained by the stationary phase, and this distance will become responsible to increase the bandwidth. And as a result of this, as a result of increased concentration of the solute in the stationary phase, there is some improper interaction between the stationary phase and the solute will be expected. As a result of this, there is increased band broadening process. So therefore, these are the three important terms you need to remember: eddy diffusion, longitudinal diffusion, multiple path transfer terms. And this multiple path transfer is possible both into stationary phase as well as mobile phase. Okay, now you have four terms. Height equivalent theoretical plate is due to eddy diffusion, longitudinal diffusion, mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase, and mass transfer of the solute into the mobile phase. So eddy diffusion is due to inconsistency of packing the stationary phase into the chromatographic column, and differences in particle size of the stationary phase particles in the chromatographic column. Therefore, height is going to be increased, and that height is denoted by HD, and this is the term for eddy diffusion or multiple path transfer. HD is a term to show increased plate height due to longitudinal diffusion of the solute. HS is the term to show the mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase, and HM is the term to show the mass transfer of the solute into the mobile phase. If you substitute the equations for HP, HD, HS, and HM from equation 1, 2, 3, and 4, you will get, if you combine the equation number 1 to 4, you will get a new equation, that is overall H, the overall plate height for an individual solute is equal to 2 into lambda dp plus 2 into gamma dm divided by u plus q k dash into df square divided by 1 plus k dash square into ds into u plus function of dp square into dc square divided by dm into u. All the terms have been summed up, that's it. So in the next step, let me write 2 into lambda into dp is A, 2 into gamma dm as B, and q into k dash into df square divided by 1 plus k dash whole square into ds as cs, and function of dp square into dc square divided by dm as cm. You will get a new equation. H is equal to a plus b by u plus cs into u plus cm into u. In other way, alternatively, you can write it as H is equal to a plus b by u plus cu, a plus b by u plus cu. This equation is a very important equation which is used to express how the height of the theoretical plate is increased due to band spreading or band broadening by the contribution of the eddy diffusion term A, longitudinal diffusion term B, and multiple path transfer term of C. And this equation is known as Van Demeter equation. This equation is very, very useful in order to calculate what is the average linear velocity of the mobile phase. Optimum velocity of the mobile phase must be fixed in such level by using this particular equation. So if we wanted to fix the chromatographic condition in such a way that the plate height should be minimum, then we will be certainly using this equation, that is Van Demeter equation. So where A is the eddy diffusion term, B is the longitudinal diffusion term, CS and CM are the multiple path transfer term for a solute for the diffusion into stationary phase and mobile phase respectively. Okay, so you consider this Van Demeter equation that can also be written as H is equal to A plus B by U plus CU, or H is equal to A plus B by U bar plus C into U bar, where U bar will be optimum velocity of the mobile phase or optimum speed of the mobile phase or optimum flow rate of the mobile phase through the chromatographic column. Let us come back to gas chromatography. In gas chromatography, it is wished to replace this capital H by small h. This small h is known as reduced plate height. Reduced plate height. Reduced plate height can be defined as H by dc, where dc is the column diameter. The column diameter in GC will be very, very minimum, very, very less. It will be less than say 1 millimeter. It will be less than 1 millimeter, whereas in the liquid chromatographic column diameter will be from 0.25 centimeter to 1 centimeter. So since the diameter of the column is very low, the height equivalent for theoretical plate can be substituted by reduced plate height, that is H by dc. So in place of H, if you put H So H is equal to, small h is equal to A plus B by V plus CV, where V in place of U is same, and which will describe the optimum velocity of the mobile phase through the chromatographic column. And still, if you go to open tubular columns, as I told earlier, there will be no stationary phase particles packed into the chromatographic column. Therefore, there is no question of expecting the solute to pass in multiple paths. So multiple path transfer term will be absent. So A will be equal to 0. And if you use this expression, you will get H is equal to 0 plus B by U plus C into U. And hence H is equal to B by U plus C into U, or H is equal to B by U bar plus C into U bar. And this is especially for the gas chromatography while using open tubular columns or capillary columns for the separation process. And this equation is called as Golay equation, and this Golay equation is devoted to express what is the height equivalent for theoretical plate in gas chromatographic separation by using OTC or capillary columns, open tubular columns or capillary columns. So this Golay equation will be used to calculate the optimum velocity of the carrier gas in gas chromatography, provided the B value and H value is known. If the U value is known and B value is known, what is the height equivalent of theoretical plate can also be determined, or it can be calculated. This is Golay equation, and this is also known as modified version of Van Deventer equation. And this equation is exclusively for gas chromatography. Right. Golay equation is also called as modernized version of Van Deventer equation. So if you take the liquid solid chromatography, in liquid solid chromatography, mobile phase will be a liquid and stationary phase will be a solid. So if stationary phase is a solid, there is a packing material in the chromatographic column. Then we have to concern with the particle size, whether the particles are homogeneously packed. Is there any consistency followed during the packing the stationary phase to the chromatographic column, or is there any inconsistency seen during the packing? These are all the factors we have to consider. Therefore, exclusively for liquid solid chromatography, because stationary phase is solid, A term will be there, B term will be there, mass transfer of the solute into stationary phase and mobile phase can also be seen. Therefore, if you consider the mobile phase velocity at an optimum speed, you can write the Van Deventer equation in the form of H is equal to A plus B by U bar plus CS into U bar plus CM into U bar. The meanings for all the terms presented here are same as what have been defined earlier. A will be eddy diffusion term, B will be longitudinal diffusion term, CS and CM are with respect to mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase and mobile phase respectively. And U bar is the average velocity of the mobile phase. This equation is written instead of Van Deventer equation, where U was written for showing the velocity of the mobile phase. Here, the average linear velocity of the mobile phase has been substituted, and the mass transfer of the solute in the stationary phase and mobile phase have been separated here. So this equation is known as Huber equation. And this Huber equation is particularly suitable for liquid solid chromatography. Then let us come to liquid chromatography. In liquid chromatography, stationary phase will be a liquid. Stationary phase will be a liquid, and this liquid will be hydrophobic. This liquid will be hydrophobic, and this will be non-polar, and even sometimes polar stationary phase can also be used. So, since there is no solid particles are present in the chromatographic column as a stationary phase, A term will be almost constant or negligible in liquids, because packing inconsistency will not be seen. There is no improper particle size seen if the stationary phase what we are using is liquid. So A term will be almost constant or negligible in liquids. Let us come to B term, longitudinal diffusion term. Because the stationary phase is liquid, there are two immiscible liquids are present in the chromatographic column, because the polarity, if you consider the picture, the polarity of the mobile phase and the stationary phase will be completely in opposite. Therefore, the term B will be nearly zero except at low mobile phase velocity. At low mobile phase velocity, the solutes will be segregated at the center, right? Therefore, the B term will be not equal to 0 at low mobile phase velocity. If the elution process is started, the mobile phase velocity will not be 0. Mobile phase velocity will be more. Mobile phase velocity will not be low during the elution stage because the mobile phase will be moving through the chromatographic column at certain flow rate. So therefore, the B value will be 0. B value will be 0 whenever the mobile phase is in motion. If the mobile phase is not in motion, the B value will not be 0. I am not considering that particular situation here. Here the situation is the term B will be nearly 0 except at low mobile phase velocity. So A will be constant and 0, negligible, and B will be 0 for liquid-liquid chromatography. So this equation can be rearranged to H is equal to Cs into U bar plus Cm into U bar. H is equal to Cs into U bar plus Cm into U bar. So this is another version of the Van Deventer equation, and this is devoted to liquid-liquid chromatographic separation process. So only mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase and to the mobile phase can be seen in case of liquid-liquid chromatographic separation process, where the height is contributed by H is equal to Cs into U bar plus Cm into U bar, where H is the height, Cs is the mass transfer term into the stationary phase, and Cm is the mass transfer term for mobile phase. U bar is usually the average linear velocity of the mobile phase. Another equation is also devoted by Knox equation. Reduced plate height is equal to A into V to the power 1 by 3 plus B divided by V plus C into V. This equation is also dimensionless because the term A, B, and C are dimensionless. They don't have any actual meaning. Therefore, this equation is devoted to express the reduced plate height of an individual theoretical plate as described by the Knox. So Knox equation is H is equal to A into V to the power 1 by 3 plus B divided by V plus C into V, where V is the velocity of the mobile phase along with the solute which is moving through the chromatographic column. So this is Knox equation. So all these equations are very, very useful in order to understand how the height, the greater height is contributed to lowering the column efficiency, why the H values are increasing, why the height equivalent theoretical plate is becoming more, what are the factors contributing to that. So here is a plot, and this plot is known as Van Deventer's plot. By means of this plot, we can illustrate the Van Deventer equation. So we know from the Van Deventer equation, H is equal to A plus B by U plus Cu, where U is the linear velocity of the mobile phase, where U is the linear velocity of the mobile phase. So if you consider the longitudinal diffusion term B, H is equal to B by U, if you simply say, if U is increased, H will become more. If U is less, H will become high. And similarly, if you come to mass transfer term, if U is increased, H will also increase. If U is minimum, H will be minimized. So the same factor, same dependency of the mobile phase velocity and the height of a theoretical plate has been described, has been illustrated by means of this graph. So if you consider eddy diffusion term A, it is independent of mobile phase velocity. So therefore, even if you increase the mobile phase velocity, there is no either increase or decrease in the plate height. So eddy diffusion term is independent of the mobile phase velocity. That is dependent upon only the particle size of the stationary phase and consistency of the packing. If there is a packing material consistently present in the column, no problem, no question of increasing height of the theoretical plate. If all the particles are in uniform size, then there is no question of increased plate height. So apart from that, there is nothing to do with the mobile phase velocity for the eddy diffusion term. So eddy diffusion term A remains constant irrespective of the mobile phase linear velocity or average linear velocity of carrier gas, especially in gas chromatography. If you come to the second term, eddy diffusion, H is equal to B by U. As I told you, if you increase the linear velocity of the mobile phase or the carrier gas, if the carrier gas velocity is increased, H value will become lower. H value will become lower. You can see initially the value of H was high, that is presented in the y-axis. Initially the H value was very high. As the mobile phase velocity is increased along the x-axis, you can see the value of H keep on decreasing, and it will become constant at certain level. Then if you still increase the mobile phase velocity, the value of H will also increase. The value of H will also increase. So this is where from this point to this point, the value of H was almost constant. You can see this linear portion, this flat portion. You can see this is the portion, and this portion is indicating the range of linear velocity of the mobile phase, between which the value of H was not disturbed. It was maintained at a constant level. So this mobile phase velocity can be called as optimum velocity, U bar optimum. And this is the curve for showing the eddy diffusion B by U, longitudinal diffusion B by U bar. Longitudinal diffusion B by U bar can be shown by means of this particular curve. So as you increase the mobile phase velocity, H will also decrease, and from one particular velocity of the mobile phase, H will start to increase. So up to that particular velocity, you can fix what is the optimum velocity of the mobile phase, that is denoted as U bar optimum. So this is the point up to which U bar can be maintained for the elution of the solute, and at which the height of the theoretical plate was maintained at lower values. So column efficiency was maximum if you maintain the mobile phase velocity up to this particular level, up to this particular speed. This is for the second term. So how the H is varying with respect to mobile phase velocity. Next, Cu, H is equal to Cu. If you increase the mobile phase velocity, the mass transfer of the solute into the stationary phase as well as mobile phase will also become more, and hence the value of H keep on increases linearly. If you see here, this line, you can see this is for illustrating how the H is going to be varied with increased mobile phase velocity. As you increase the mobile phase velocity, the height of the theoretical plate will also increase linearly. Why this is? This is because there is a continuous mass transfer of the solute either into the stationary phase or into the mobile phase. As a result of this, the increased plate height can be seen, and this leads to decrease the column efficiency. Column efficiency will be suppressed at greater mobile phase velocity. Therefore, it is very, very essential to fix the optimum velocity of the mobile phase wherever you are doing the analysis, either by using liquid-liquid chromatography or liquid-solid chromatography or gas-liquid chromatography or gas-solid chromatography, whatever it is. So first you have to fix the mobile phase velocity to an optimum level. Then you have to perform the elution process so that the column efficiency must be maximum. And this column efficiency is maximum because of the lower band broadening, lower rate of zone spreading. All right. So if you consider H is equal to 0 and A is equal to 0 for gas chromatography, as I told you, if you are using capillary columns or open tubular columns, there are no packing materials are used. So because of the absence of the packing materials, there is no eddy diffusion term. A is equal to 0. If you assume a very, very minimum height of the theoretical plate can be seen at certain experimental conditions. So that is, if you assume H is equal to 0 and A is equal to 0, and if you substitute into this equation H is equal to 0 and A is equal to 0, you will be ending up with B by U is equal to minus Cu. I will omit here minus sign for clarity. So B by U is equal to Cu, or B by C is equal to U square. So U is equal to square root of B by C. So what is the optimum velocity of the mobile phase? It is dependent upon the longitudinal diffusion term and the mass transfer term of the Van Deventer equation. So U is equal to square root of B by C. You substitute this into this equation. H minimum, if you wanted to achieve minimum plate height for a particular solute, so H minimum will be equal to A plus B into B divided by square root of B by C. plus C into square root of B by C. So H is equal to A plus B by U plus CU. You have Van Deventer equation. You put these values to this equation, you will be ending up with B by C is equal to U square. So U is equal to square root of B by C. To put this square root of B by C in place of U, you will get H minimum is equal to A plus B by square root of B by C plus C into square root of B by C. So if you rearrange this, H minimum is equal to A plus, this B can be written as square root of B square. Square root of B square. So square root of B square divided by B by C. Plus this C can be written as square root of C square. So this whole term will be coming as square root of C square into B divided by C. Right. So here B and B getting cancelled, C and C getting cancelled. You are left with square root of BC plus square root of BC plus A. So H minimum is equal to A plus 2 into square root of BC. So if you don't know the linear velocity of the mobile phase, still the height of the theoretical plate can be calculated by using this expression, that is H minimum is equal to A plus 2 into square root of BC. If the eddy diffusion term is known, longitudinal diffusion term is known, and mass transfer term is known, by using all these terms, you can substitute the values of them and you can calculate what is the minimum height of the theoretical plate at this particular point. You can calculate. So this is the illustration of the Van Deventer equation. So this is illustrating, this is giving the outcome that the eddy diffusion term is independent of the mobile phase linear velocity. So height of the theoretical plate remains constant at all the velocity of the mobile phase. But there is a significant variation. There is a linear change in the height of the theoretical plate with increased speed of the mobile phase, and that is explained by this particular curve, and that is showing the dependency of the linear velocity of the mobile phase on plate height, and due to mass transfer process of the solute into the stationary phase and mobile phase. And this is showing the effect of mobile phase linear velocity and the plate height while considering the longitudinal diffusion. So the plate height will be minimum at certain flow rate, at certain velocity of the mobile phase. So you have to optimize it in order to fix proper experimental or separation procedures for either liquid solid chromatography or liquid chromatography or gas solid or gas liquid chromatography. So this is a plot which will demonstrate how the particle size in liquid solid chromatography will be varying the plate height. So if the flow rate is increased, if the flow rate is increased, that is presented along the x-axis, and different stationary phases were used, and these stationary phases were having particles of different sizes. So one stationary phase had particle size of 3 micrometer, other was having 5 micrometer, and the other one was having 10 micrometer. So if you use the stationary phase particle of lower particle size, if the particle size is lower, the diameter of the particle will also become lower. The diameter of the particle will also become lower. So the particle size will influence greatly the column efficiency by increasing the plate height. That can be seen in this particular graph. So if you increase the flow rate, while using smallest stationary phase particles, there is no much effect to the height of the theoretical plate. Height of the theoretical plate almost remained constant. When we use lower size of the stationary phase particle. If you increase the stationary phase particle size from 3 micrometer to 5 micrometer, and you are doing the elution at different flow rates of the mobile phase, height of the theoretical plate will also increase from certain flow rate. You can see plate height keep on decreases, then it will increase with increased flow rate. In the previous case, plate height will become decreases and it will become almost constant because the particle size was minimum. If the particle size was 5 meter, which was greater than 3 micrometer, so as the flow rate is increased, plate height keep on decreases up to certain point. Then beyond that particular point, as the flow rate is increased, plate height will also increase. But the picture showing there is abrupt dependency of flow rate on the height of the theoretical plate. There is much influence of flow rate and the height of the theoretical plate when we use 10 micrometer particle size. So as the particle size is increased, the plate height will also become more as the flow rate is increased along the x-axis or along the chromatography column. So if you increase the mobile phase flow rate, the plate height is also going to be increased if the stationary phase particles are larger in size. So this graph is giving the outcome, giving the result, giving the inference that it is better to use the stationary phase particles which are lower in size. If you use the stationary phase particles which are larger in size, definitely it goes to affect the column efficiency. It will suppress the column efficiency by increasing the band spreading. Because of the increased bandwidth, increase the band spreading or zone spreading, there is increase in the plate height, and as a result, the column efficiency is going to be suppressed. And this is true in liquid solid chromatography. In liquid solid chromatography, stationary phase will be a solid and mobile phase will be a liquid. And solid stationary phases have utilized these particles of different sizes ranging from 3 to 10 micrometer. And this graph is showing the effect of mobile phase velocity and the plate height in gas solid chromatography. In gas solid chromatography, we will be using solid stationary phase and gaseous mobile phase. If you change the mobile phase velocity, carrier gas speed or velocity of the carrier gas, how the height is going to be varied. And again, what is the particle size here? 0.1 to 0.15 millimeter, 0.25 to 0.3 millimeter, 0.3 to 0.4, and similarly 0.6 to 0.8 millimeter. These are the different stationary phases were tried in order to show the effect of linear velocity of the mobile phase on the plate height of the individual theoretical plate. So here also, as the stationary phase particle is more, as the stationary phase particle size is more, then the plate height keep on increases. So acceptable particle size is 0.1 to 0.15 or 0.25 to 0.3 millimeter. There is almost a constant plate height is seen here. But in between these two cases, 0.1 to 0.15 millimeter stationary phase particles are yielding better results because height is very low. HEPP value is very low. For 0.25 to 0.3 millimeter stationary phase particles, HEPP value is somewhat greater when compared to 0.1 to 0.15 millimeter. If you look at the third, fourth, and fifth cases, stationary phase particle size has been increased to 0.3 to 0.4, 0.4 to 0.6, and 0.6 to 0.8 millimeter. So as you increase the linear velocity of the mobile phase, there is increase in the height of the theoretical plate in all these three cases. Here also increase the height of the theoretical plate. Here also increase the height of the theoretical plate, and here too. Therefore, this is drawing the conclusion that as the mobile phase velocity is increased, there is a concomitant increase in the plate height. So you have to fix the optimum velocity for the mobile phase. It may be a liquid mobile phase or a gaseous mobile phase, or even supercritical fluid mobile phase you will be using in supercritical fluid chromatography. You have to fix the proper stationary phase of appropriate particle size in order to achieve the required column efficiency. Column efficiency will be certainly maximum provided the band broadening is suppressed. Okay, and this is a graph to show a collective effect of linear mobile phase velocity and the column efficiency. So number of theoretical plates, how they are going to be affected as the size of the stationary phase particle and the mobile phase velocity is increased. So here there are four curves. All the four curves are obtained by using 5 micrometer, 10 micrometer, 20 micrometer, and 40 micrometer particle size of stationary phase. And they were used to achieve the chromatographic separation by maintaining different mobile phase linear velocity. So what were the number of theoretical plates obtained? Number of theoretical plates can be used to express the column efficiency. So n is plotted as a function of linear velocity of the mobile phase for different stationary phase particles which were used in the separation process. You can see number of theoretical plates were maximum when you use stationary phase of particle size 5 micrometer. Even you increase the linear velocity of the mobile phase, say 0.2, 0.4, 0.6 up to 1.2, even if you increase the linear velocity of the mobile phase, The number of theoretical plates have not been affected. Almost the same number of theoretical plates were seen when you use smaller stationary phase particles. If you use 10 micrometer, somewhat less influenced by the particle size and the linear velocity of the mobile phase. As the linear velocity of the mobile phase, number of theoretical plates slightly decreased because 10 micrometer particle size for the stationary phase particles. And if you look at 20 micrometer stationary phase particle, n value keep on decreases as the linear velocity of the mobile phase increases. Similarly, for 40 micrometer particle size, n value keep on decreases. So the column efficiency is dependent upon the mobile phase velocity and the stationary phase particle size. So we have to fix the chromatographic conditions in such a way that we have to anticipate always better column efficiency without more band spreading. Band spreading will be definitely suppressing the column efficiency, and thereby there will be impairment in the separation process. So we have to be very careful while fixing the separation procedure for a chromatographic analysis. So the overall outcome and conclusion, I can tell you that in order to achieve a better chromatographic separation, the chromatographic peaks should show less band broadening, and the separation process should be of high column efficiency. So column efficiency is very important, and this high column efficiency is due to lower band broadening or lower zone spreading. So in order to achieve this, you have to use a stationary phase particle of smaller size. Always minimum particle size is recommended for the stationary phases, and homogeneous packing must be maintained. Uniform particle size and homogeneous packing must be maintained. Optimum mobile phase velocity must be obtained. So by doing the trial and error method, by doing preliminary analysis, what is the optimum velocity of the mobile phase with respect to the stationary phase particle and the mobile phase composition we are using, we have to fix this. So if you have maintained optimum mobile phase velocity or the carrier gas speed or the mobile phase speed through the chromatographic column during the elution process, definitely you will be able to achieve better chromatographic separation with greatest column efficiency and less extent of band broadening or zone spreading. So to sum up, in this particular module, we have discussed about the meaning of band broadening or zone spreading, factors which will affect the band broadening we have discussed, and how to influence to decrease the band broadening process. What are the factors we have to play, we have discussed in this particular module. So thank you very much. Let us see you in the next module.